Let's get into alcoholism, drug addiction, and morals. I mean, I think that Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous help a lot of people, help them get sober and all this and that, but I disagree with their doctrine. First of all, I don't believe in God. And if your dad started you on drugs at 5 years old, spiking your food and everything, and you lived the life I lived, and the things going on in the world, you'd have trouble believing in God. So that's a pet peeve of mine. And I've got into arguments with people in Alcoholics Anonymous about that. So I have to go to meetings and keep my mouth shut. I can't even bring up the God issue because so many people, because of the peer pressure, all think that they should talk about God and that God is keeping them sober. And I'm sober today by my choice. I chose not to drink and take drugs or alcohol today, and that's not because I couldn't afford it. I got more than enough money to afford whatever I want. It's because of a decision. Now, 2 days ago, was I clean and sober? No. Yesterday, when they launched the missile, when North Korea launched the missile on the 12th, I was sober. And that was because I chose to stay sober that day. And today, I am sober. So it's primarily a choice. It's not anything from God or anything like that. It's just because it's what I choose to do today. Plus I have goals, I have things I want to do with myself in my life. I have a bucket list, and I've done more than anybody I probably know. I've done more than anything of anybody that I know on my bucket list other than one thing, and I haven't completed that yet, and I will have to go to another country to complete that mission to finalize my bucket list if I get there. So I have one final thing on my bucket list, and obviously staying sober to do that is paramount. But back on the moral issue, I mean, you know, AA preaches about morals and you got to believe in God and all this and that, and I just keep my mouth shut because I know in my particular case it has nothing to do with it other than what's morally wrong is drinking and taking drugs and knowing it's killing me and feeling terribly guilty about it. Now that is definitely morally wrong, but there's tons of things that I haven't done that are morally wrong that other people are doing not to justify it. And what's funny is Bill W. in the Alcoholics Anonymous, when he was writing the 12 steps, which is a miracle. It's a God-given program if you believe in God or whatever. It's a miracle that program exists, and it was written professionally, and it will continue to last for a long time. A lot of programs would have failed by then. By now, would be no longer existent. So he started an excellent program in this and that. But because he started from a religious group, the Oxford groups were the first ones, they preached this morality thing really heavy and all that. And I disagree. I think that there's a lot of alcoholics and drug addicts that are good people, you know, and there's nothing wrong with them other than they're physiologically addicted to alcohol or drugs. And some drugs like nicotine are so addictive that anybody can get addicted to them. I mean, but that's another story. That's genetics or whatnot. But I'm going to stick with the morals on this. The founder, Bill W. of Alcoholics Anonymous, that was writing these 12 steps about, you know, you admit you're powerless over alcohol, your life's unmanageable. Okay, so those are understandable. 3, you discern your will and your life over the care of God as you understood him. Well, that's okay. I mean, my God could be a fish or whatever, you know. And then 4, made it fearless and search a moral inventory of ourselves. Well, I can see where my drinking was a problem, and it's good to take an inventory. And then 5, admitted to regard ourselves and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Well, I have a problem with that because I meet these idiots that think that they should go to jail forever because of something they did illegal 20 years ago, and maybe they even did it for a sponsored government or all. But you know, aside from all the moral stuff, the bottom line is Bill Wilson was a womanizer, and he was a sex addict, and he was addicted to cigarettes. So Bill Wilson died from being a womanizer, a sex addict. He was cheating on his wife, talking about morals. You want to talk about morals? Let's look at Bill W., who was bitching about him. So he was a womanizer. He was cheating on his wife, having sex with everything in sight. In fact, at some times she even wanted him to stop going to meetings, because that's how he was. He was like a god back then. Every woman in sight wanted to screw him because he started an excellent program. And then he's preaching about this moral stuff. It's kind of ironic, just like a lot of preachers do. And so he was doing that. He was totally, you know, a sex addict. And then with the nicotine, you know, if it was such a God miracle, this and that they preach in AA in the 12 steps, then God would remove his smoking habit. And I'm sure that Bill W. tried thousands of times to quit smoking. I mean, I've known thousands of people that have quit thousands of times, and that's a tough thing to quit. You know, it's really, really hard to quit smoking, you know. And Bill W. died from emphysema from smoking cigarettes. So the starter of the program that Alcoholics Anonymous is modeled after, and Narcotics Anonymous is modeled after, died of the very same addictions: the sexual addiction, the nicotine addiction, the womanizer addiction that he accused other people of doing. So that's kind of contradictory. But I just ignore that stuff. And if I speak publicly about that, like I'm doing to you right now, if I was in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and I brought that up, I would be in for a total fight. People would be arguing with me, and they would say that I deserve to get drunk for saying something like that. I mean, they would terribly punish me. And I've gotten into arguments with people in AA so much that I can't even tell the truth. And then I wonder, well, why am I going to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting or an NA meeting when I can't even tell the truth? I mean, what's the purpose? You know? So I have some people I know that have like 20 or 30 years sober, and they go to a few meetings a week or whatever, and they're still a sex addict, you know, but they're a sober sex addict, you know. And so I think you have to choose the lesser of the two evils. And so I go to Alcoholics Anonymous and NA, you know, to help remind me of the trouble I got in from the drugs and the alcohol, but I don't necessarily buy all their philosophy hook, line, and sinker. And the people in the program adamantly tell you about how they do and how they follow everything, and they brag at the meetings about how they work the steps and how they go to a certain amount of meetings and do all these good little things. I mean, that's kind of like earning penance. Like some of the religions, like, oh, if you do this good thing and you do that good thing, something good's going to happen to you. And that's not true. There's a lot of good people that get their houses broken into. There's a lot of good people that get murdered. There's a lot of good people that get bombed. There's a lot of good people that get raped. There's a lot of good people that die from cancer, you know. And I think they were good people, and they were moral. So to say that the alcoholic is a moral or bad person and that's the cause of their addiction is a fucking lie. It's a fucking lie. Thank you.